Hello, family and friends. It's Saturday, the 8th of March, and I'm checking in because I want to thank you all very much for a very good Bandcamp Friday. Cheers. Even though I'm not drinking coffee, I've determined that last batch of cinnamon nut swirl that I bought 2 bags worth was bad. It didn't even smell right. Even the fresh bag didn't smell right. But everything else tastes just fine. All food and everything. Thank you. That was pretty good. That's pretty good. And I signed a bunch of CDs. Everyone that asked me to sign, I signed for you. I signed some others as well. Just kind of intuiting that the person would probably appreciate me signing it. But folks, continue to discover my music, and I also got some nice compliments from people as they bought, saying wonderful sounds, etc., etc. Don't stop because it's not Bandcamp Friday anymore. If you want to discover my music, please just go purchase it. I didn't get any physical hits on RAF, a couple of digital purchases of RAF. Even the old tape from the 80s that's on my Bandcamp site has gotten a couple of hits, digital. Thank you very much for discovering the music. Overall, doing much better. Had enjoyable visits at the post office. Just almost everybody down there at that station knows who I am. So we get into conversations. Folks were congratulating me because I was sharing with Andrea. I finally got to talk to her. That David Nansen Mode Sound won album of the year. You know, she is a music lover. And the other staff that was there that overheard, they were thrilled for me. As I keep saying, I'm very thankful. And I'm a very rich man, even though I ain't got no money. I don't know what the total is that I made because the way that Bandcamp sends you the money is kind of weird and piecemeal, but it was a decent day. And it will help me with my house. So I want to show a little bit of music. I'm going to show you some night listening. But I want to piggyback on something that I watch. Probably the only other VC member that I watch regularly is Michael P. Dawson every Friday. And Friday he showed an album that I just love and don't have on CD, but it would be perfect rest music. Führs Fröhling, Ammerland. I love this album. This came out in 1978. I've had it probably since 1978. I've had it. I got it as quick as I saw a copy, and this is absolutely beautiful and pastoral. And the cover image just about captures it. Interestingly, I don't know how many other records they put out, but they put out another Führs Fröhling diary. And this is one I found in recent years. This one came out in 1981. Not nearly as beautiful as Ammerland. It's almost like more the titles don't really tell you anything. It's not wonderful. It's good, but it's not wonderful. Ammerland is wonderful. And Michael didn't show their records, but I have the Führs Fröhling SFF Symphonic Pictures, and indeed in Progland. I'm being silly. Prog listeners, you all know this band, right? I know you do, the ones that actually know anything about prog. This is a great album. A great album. However, I like the next one even better, personally. Sunburst. Played this more, as it were. This is the Brain. You know what the Brain label looks like. But I like this one even better than the first album. And then the third album, Ticket to Everywhere, is where they make an attempt to make commercial concessions, and they don't make things any better. It's still very good. But you can hear where it's like most likely pressure from the label. Sure would be nice if we could sell some more records. So I wanted to show those. Played a little bit of vinyl yesterday. They're sitting down. I'll show them. But I watched last night a couple documentaries about Holland Dozier Holland, the songwriting team that helped make Motown famous, and then they went on to start Invictus Records. It was real eye-opening, although I know about the deep racism in the record industry and almost everything else, but the way that they described it and talked about it, I'm funny like that. Well, I just spot I missed, but it was a fascinating tale, and it's just so typical of how success ruins things. Holland Dozier Holland were so successful that they had people fighting over their songs, and actually people jockeying for position. Write me one, write me a hit. And it's how they ended up falling out with Motown. And I'm just so glad that I've never wanted that. I've just wanted the music. And the story behind a lot of the hits, like One Ads by the Honeycomb, it's like nobody wanted the song except this one woman, Edna, and she blew that shit up. She knew what to do with that track. I enjoyed it very much, and I like documentaries very much. So some records that got played yesterday. Jean-Pierre Alarcen, Tableau number 1. He was the guitarist in the band Sandrose, French band. I'm still wanting the Sandrose album, even though I don't like the vocals. It's still an item that I would like to have for my collection. This is very Magma influenced and a neat looking label. Scopuzzle. But it's also it has grand. It's got timpani on it, and it's tableau. That's the right name for it. It's like it's really good. Kind of wrought, emotional. It's like he's like trying to tell you something, you don't know what. And then the rhythm when it comes in, it's almost like jazz rock. That's why I said Magma. I like how the French nimble bass, tight drums, good album. Flying Island. This was just something I pulled and hadn't played for a long time. I have both their albums. Another Kind of Space. Yeah, this is a Goodwill find of all things many years ago. Jazz rock, but just it's on the light side. They try to be funky and it ain't funky, okay? Even though they're good musicians on here, like Jeff Bova and Bill Bacon. Bill Bacon's a good drummer, but not funky. And some of the material is kind of like, oh boy, this is just kind of okay. But I have the first album I think is better. I have that too. it was next to the Flying Lotus, and so I just pulled them both. And I love Flying Lotus, I do. This is an EP of Here's Reset. Flying Lotus. I see that he's done some work with Sakamoto, but I don't know if it's on vinyl or anything. Back to some prog, or you can sort of call it prog, and then slightly psychedelic. Sensations Fix, based out of Italy, but with a mixed membership who weren't all Italian. Box's Paradise, 1977 album. Particularly side 2 of this is my favorite, Mother's Day and Faux Batard. These covers like this, I don't get it. But this is a very good album, Sensations Fix, Polydor. Played some of this, and it's like the words got on my nerves, and so I took it off. David Sancious and Tone, True Stories. Some good playing on here, but it's like he's like professing, to a degree, and it's like that can get on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? I keep saying, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of people do that. But musically, it's solid. David Sancious and Tone. Here's one that the people sent to me. They wanted me to have a copy of this. The Patron Saints. It's hard to read. Foho Bohob. It's got a book. I ain't gonna take it all out and stuff. I'm keeping this, but as I listen to it, it's like it's real homemade sounding. And musically, not all that interesting, but they wanted me to have this. I don't imagine there's a lot of copies of this. Some of you might be interested. I'll try to remember to write the name since I couldn't say it. And that's it. A little bit more on the CD side. Now these two I was listening to in here yesterday. Ambiances Magnétiques Inedits, Volume 3. Is this related to Asphodel? I get things mixed up a little bit. Well, there's one coming up. But this is cool. It's got an interesting kind of box. See those? Isn't that interesting? And then the disc itself is like in this little pull-out card like that. I hadn't listened to this in a while, and this is fascinating work. Cool box. Cool, kind of unusual. Like a 3D construction. This is definitely worth showing. It's some really good artists in this vein of electronic ambient experimental music. Is that Robert Marcel Lepage, René Lucier, who's done a lot of work with Fred Frith, Martin Tétrault, Danielle Palardi Roger, and then on this side, I really got into this. Diane Labrosse, is that her name? Yeah, Diane Labrosse, André Duchesne, Jean Hetu, Jean de Rome. These are names. Michael F. Cote. This is just very, very, very interesting. And not ambient, but that's what they call this. It's all over the place, really. So I pulled and played some of that. Did I play some of this yesterday? But it's another one in the series where it's got that packaging. This one is called A Storm of Drones, and this is Asphodel. the Asphodel label. Many different artists. This is a 2 or 3 CDs with that interest. See what I mean? It's like a construction, and then these holders for the discs. Well, that's the only time I've seen packaging like this. A Storm of Drones. This is up for continued play today or the next day. And the Jean-Pierre Alarcen was a night listen because I found it online, file sharing, I'll be honest. Downloaded it and burned a copy and mocked up a cover for it. It's very good. The other stuff that I listened to, here's one that was sent to me, I think, for review. I forget from who, but Ahad's Flux Worlds. I've talked about this before. I've reviewed it. Double disc. I listened to disc 2. This is Soundwork. This is very good. I love Soundworks where it doesn't sound like it's people just throwing something against the wall to see what it sticks. I love it when sound map for terrestrial melanoheliophobics. Ahad, Zsolt Sőrés, that's the artist. This was compelling. I listened to quite a bit of this, and it's long. One piece on here is 35 minutes, another one is 45 minutes, and I listened to most of it. And it just kept moving, and there's all kinds of things happening. I'd have to read the book. Okay, here we go. It's like everything from string viola, fretless bass, mellotron, bowed copper bells, moved theremin, vibrating objects, rolling dictaphone, rolling space echo. So this is good. Ahad's Flux Worlds. This is good. Some night music listening. That was just wonderful. One of the things about the nap listening now and then the night listening is that once you're in this bed and you put the music on, it's like, you're kind of like, well, I'm in for this. And so, consequently, there's been several things as a result of doing that I listened to all, from front to back, all the way through, and while listening for the first time. I try to, it's just the way it is, This is one where, as I listen to it, it's like, I'd never listened to this all the way through. Nicola, Alesini, Pier, Luigi, Andreoni, Marco Polo, with wonderful guests, David Sylvian, Roger Eno, David Torn, Harold Budd. And they put them butts to good use. They made them, whatever they paid those guys to be on the album, the guys earned it. This is wonderful. Atmospheric, all over the place musically. From the folk influences of their region to ambient, progressive, even slightly jazzy. This is fantastic. There's another one too. I don't think I have it on physical form, but I have it on the computer. Marco Polo. David Sylvian is in fine voice on this album. Now here's one that I just went ahead and I just went through with it. It's an EP. It's not a full-length album. Stickman. Tentacles. This is Tony Levin with Pat Mastelotto and Marcus Reuter. And what they're doing is, to me, I'm going to just tell you the way it strikes me. I love these musicians, but it's like, well, we know how to play the King Crimson bag. Of course, Tony Levin, King Crimson. But it's like the music it ended up being kind of aimless. It's like kind of aimless, but it's all in that Fripper King Crimson modality. Excuse me. And there's parts of it that are more compelling than others. There's parts where the playing is like, yeah, that's a nice passage. But overall, it was kind of like, well, you just sounds like you're making it because you can make it. That's just a minor criticism. I have other Stickman records to revisit. I haven't listened to much. Moon June. But if you like King Crimson, if you like Tony Levin, if you like these other musicians, you'll like this. You will. I mean, it is the shit. It is. And then lastly, the Fax label. I always think of it as related to the artist Pete Namlock, rest in peace. Now listen to both of these discs. Air 1 and 2. And this is it'd be like seems like it'll be taking a long time to get going, with a drone and just minimal synthesizer. And then the next thing you know, a complete picture of music pops up. Parts of it is a bit like Tangerine Dream, with the arpeggio, use of arpeggios and stuff, but not derivative. This was good, but kind of slightly creepy in part, but good. There you have it, folks. I want to thank you again for your interest in the music. I'm glad that you folks are listening. Hopefully today more of you will be receiving copies that I've mailed out. And as I said, don't stop buying because it's not Bandcamp Friday. The bit of revenue that I accrue through music sales means the world to me. And it's very much needed. Thank you so very much. While I was at the post office and talking to Andrea, she told me that if she doesn't mention certain people, she can talk about issues. And she was running down to me how ridiculous the idea of privatizing the post office is, and they're trying to do it again under Trump, and how this will be a disaster, especially for people like me, because they want to bump up prices anywhere from 30 to 140%. And this is supposed to be helping the American people. I am so enraged. It's so ridiculous. It's just so bad. Have I made a call to my representative, Don Bacon? I have. Will I do it again? Yeah. I sure will when it gets warmer and we start taking it to the streets. You'll see me there. This is ridiculous what we're dealing with, isn't it, people? How can an average citizen be happy with what the Trump administration is doing? How can anyone, except people who are totally undeserving of their wealth and power and advantage? They don't deserve it, and most of them didn't earn it. Stole it, killed for, cheated for. That's how they got it. On the sweat of our and blood and sweat of our backs. It's wrong, people. It's wrong. I do not care if some of you people don't like that I talk about that after I talk about music. I don't care. This shit is important to me, so I'll bring it up. I sure in the hell will. I don't care about some folks getting offended. That's on you. I'm just being me. You don't like what I say? Get the fuck out of here. I mean it. I'm not taking no crap from anonymous people, even people that I know. You don't tell me. You do your thing. I'm going to do mine. Okay? That's where it's at, folks, okay? I'm not going to try to be all cheery at the end. That's what was on my mind, all right? Peace out. Have a good weekend.